Good afternoon, friends. This is Dr. Prashant here. I am faculty for geography for UPSC as well as for state PCS. Today we will deal with a topic on Indian geography, the most important topic as considered to be, and it is the Indian monsoon. So let's begin with Indian monsoon. It's our introductory class, and in this class we will discuss our Indian monsoon in brief. Yes. Indian monsoon. So, what do you know by monsoon? Anybody? As far as monsoon is concerned, it's most important weather phenomenon. As far as monsoon is concerned, it's most important weather phenomenon not only for India but also for the entire Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia. Mind my words, as far as Indian monsoon is concerned, it's not important, this weather phenomenon is not important only in viewpoint of India, but in viewpoint of the entire South Indian subcontinent or Southern subcontinent or the South Asian countries, including the Southeast Asia. So, what do you mean by this monsoon? How we can define it? How does this word come into origin? So, as far as monsoon is concerned, it is originated from the Arabian word, that is the Mausam, or also called as, some books define it as a Mausim. So, what does it mean? The word Mausam or the Mausim means the seasons. What does it mean? Seasons. So, now how we can define this Mausam or the monsoon, so-called monsoon? Listen to it, it's very beautiful definition as far as this Mausam is concerned, this monsoon is concerned. And for that, this Mausam is nothing but it is such a seasonal wind system. What it is? It is a seasonal wind system. It's a seasonal wind system. So, as far as this monsoon is concerned, it's a seasonal wind system that is characterized by a complete reversal. The complete reversal. See, these are the very important keywords. What is this Mausam or what is this monsoon? It's a seasonal wind system. It's a part of wind system. But how come a seasonal wind system, which is characterized by a complete reversal of what? Of its direction. It's characterized by complete reversal of its direction from one season to another season. So, what is monsoon? Then monsoon is nothing but we can define it as, it is a seasonal wind system that is characterized by the complete reversal of this wind system. Means there is change of direction from one season to another season. Means especially in summer and then in winter. In both these two seasons there is a complete reversal of its direction of this wind system. The direction of the flow of this wind system. Means there will the winds will blow in particular one direction in summer, while in winter the direction will get entirely changed. How come? That we will see as we proceed forward. So you do understand what does it mean? What is Mausam or the monsoon? As far as monsoon is concerned, it is a seasonal wind system that is characterized by complete reversal of its direction from one season to another season. And we have seen that it is the most important characteristic feature of not only for India but for the entire Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia. Now we have to see what is the distribution of this monsoon. As far as this distribution is concerned, then we can categorize as the main regions. So, as far as main region is, what do you mean by main regions? Main region means the regions wherein it is inconspicuously seen, it is the most characteristic feature of this region, and this most main region comprises India, then entire Southeast Asia, South Asia, then again the parts of South China and Japan and Northern Australia. So these are the reasons where we can see that this, as far as Indian monsoon is concerned, this peculiar phenomenon of monsoon is concerned, we can see it, it's a contiguous feature, it's the most important feature of the Indian weather, the weather of the Southeast Asia, the weather of the South Asia, then again the weather of your North America, your Northern Australia, Southern China, then parts of Japan, etc. These are the reasons. But in addition to these, it can be also seen in other regions. What are those other regions? You can also see in the USA, parts of in the USA, then again the Western Africa. These are the additional reasons where you can see that the monsoon can be seen in these two areas as well. Means most importantly, it is the characteristic feature of your India, then your South Asia, then Southeast Asia, then Southern China, Northern Australia, and the parts of Japan. So this is as far as the distribution is concerned. Now we will move to the next point. Yes. Now we have to see how the monsoonal rain occurs. Means what is this speciality, how it occurs, the reversal of the wind system. We have seen that it is a complete reversal of the wind system. So we will see how the monsoon originates. Now we have to go for the origin of monsoon. So what is the origin of monsoon? How we can see that? Yes, so let me first draw the map of Indian subcontinent, so it will be better for you to understand it in much better manner. This is Africa, then we are coming to India, Indian subcontinent. This is Southeast Asia. Then we are coming to Australia, New Zealand. New Zealand. So see, now we have to draw the equator. It comes entirely, as far as Australia is concerned, it is entirely the part of your southern hemisphere. So see, now we are going to look into the origin of the monsoon, how the monsoon has been originated. So can you see here, this is Indian subcontinent that we have seen, then this is the equator, this is the Africa, this is Australia which lies entirely in the southern hemisphere. Yes, now we will see how the origin of it occurs. So as far as origin is concerned, let me tell you that there are two important views. The one is the traditional views as well as second is the modern view. So first let's go with those. Origin of monsoon. One is the traditional view and second is the modern view. So as far as traditional view is concerned, again there are two theories. The first theory is thermal theory and second is the dynamic view or the dynamic theory. Just a minute. So as far as thermal theory is concerned, who is the propounder of it? Halley. And as far as dynamic view is concerned, who is propounder of his? Floem. So as far as thermal view is concerned, the Halley has stated that this the origin of monsoon is nothing but it is occurs because of the unequal distribution of the land mass and the water bodies. Just come to the map. Here we can explain it better. What do the Halley used to say? He used to say that the origin of the monsoon is because of the unequal distribution of the land masses and the water bodies. And as there is unequal distribution of these land masses and water bodies, ultimately there is unequal distribution in the heating as well. Yes, the temperature as this way, there will be different and temperature will be different here. Means what is that? To the basis of his theory for the origin of monsoon as far as Halley is concerned, the basic is thermal concept. That means the temperature. Means he used to say that because of their unequal distribution of the land masses or because of the unequal distribution in the temperature in two conspicuous regions, means the land masses as well as the water bodies, the origin of the monsoon takes place. So this was the concept propounded by the Halley under his thermal theory. But later on, the Floem come forward and he stated that no, this thermal concept is wrong. The origin of the monsoon is not because of this thermal concept, but it's because of this dynamic viewpoint. And what is this dynamic view? He says that wind and pressure belts. He gives credit to this, the shifting of this pressure and wind belts. And it is this reason that because of the shifting of this pressure and wind belts, the origin of the monsoon takes place. So, as far as traditional view is concerned, we have two views here. Traditional theorist says that either the monsoon is originated due to your thermal concept, means because of the temperature is playing important role. It's unequal distribution of this temperature in between the land masses and the water bodies. The origin of the monsoon takes place. But as far as we take the viewpoint of this dynamic concept is concerned, then it says that no, it is the shifting of this wind and the pressure belts, that is the basis of this occurring of the monsoon. But later on, we come to the modern view. The modern climatologist says that no, it's neither this thermal concept nor this dynamic concept, but it is entirely different facts that give rise to the origin of monsoon. And that is called as modern concept that we follow till date, and it has been established well. So now, what is that modern view and how it explains the origin of monsoon? We will see in brief. It's very, very interesting. See, friends, this monsoon is very, very interesting concept. Now, what you can see here, this is the Indian subcontinent, right? So as far as this Indian subcontinent is concerned, you can see here, this is the entire South Asia comprising India, and here It is here is India, then here is Pakistan, Afghanistan, right? And here the China, Tibet, and everything here. So as far as this monsoon is concerned, we can see that there is an entire huge landmass, means landmass comprising the entire northern India and the comprising Pakistan. So in this region, what happens? This region means especially the region of say Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, and the part of accompanying this Pakistan. This entire landmass gets heated thoroughly, intensively. This intense heating of this landmass, it leads to the development of low pressure. I will explain you. We will go step by step. See, we are seeing the modern concept. What is the modern viewpoint behind the origin of monsoon? So the modern view says that in the month, especially in the summers, that means in the month, especially in the month of April and May. In the month of April and May, the northern Indian land masses and accompanying this Pakistani land area that get intensely heated, and as it get intensely heated, a low pressure develops here. Now you can understand the relation between the pressure and temperature. I will explain you so that you will get a complete clarity of the idea. See what happens as far as what is the relation between temperature and pressure. So as far as temperature and pressure are concerned, these are inversely related to each other. This temperature and pressure are inversely related with each other. If temperature is more, if the temperature increases, then pressure decreases. If temperature reduces, the pressure is high. Is that clear? Now what's happening here? As far as this northern Indian landmass is concerned, here in the month of April and May, that means in our summer, this entire landmass gets intensely heated, and because of that intense heating, it becomes very hot, very hot. And as that means what? In geographical perspective, the temperature increases. And we know, we have just seen, when the temperature is high, the pressure becomes low. And more is the temperature higher. As the temperature is higher, lower is the pressure. That means as high as the low temperature is high is here, that means I would like to tell you that perhaps in the month of April and May, this entire landmass is the only landmass in the world that is registering such a high temperature, such an intense temperature. And as a result of this, very intense low pressure is developed here. Are you getting my point? See, because Indian summer, everybody can understand that as far as summer is concerned, temperature is high. And as temperature is high, that means the entire landmass get intensely heated. We know that. Take into account one thing, that as far as land is concerned and as far as water body is concerned, the land get heated very faster in compared to water bodies. Water bodies take comparatively some time to get warmer or heated. But as far as land mass is concerned, it gets heated very faster. And as a result of this is the comprising this entire North India and comprising entire region of this Pakistan is concerned. It is a whole vast land mass, and this vast land mass get intensely heated. And as it is intensely heated, the low pressure is developed. Now see the magic what happens. As here low pressure is developed, and now come to the contrary view of this to this another side of this equator. To the south of this equator, that means this is the northern hemisphere and this is the southern hemisphere. As far as the southern hemisphere is concerned, if here is summer, that means here is winter. Am I right or not? That means what? In the southern countries in the southern hemisphere, there is winter now. Means if in the month of April and May there is summer here in the northern hemisphere in India, that means in Australia and all other countries, South African countries, South American countries, there is winter period. So what happens as far as winter is concerned means what? There is winter means temperature is as low as possible. Means here is temperature is low. Here temperature is low. And we have recently seen the relation in between the temperature and pressure. If the temperature is low, then pressure will be high because they are inversely related to each other. They are inversely related to each other. in southern hemisphere because here is now winter period, and in winter period as temperature is low, then pressure will be high, isn't it or not? In southern hemisphere, as there is winter, in winter period the temperature is low, and as temperature is low the pressure will be high. That means what? The area of low pressure is developed here, area of high pressure is developed here because temperature is minimum. Understand this concept. This is the basis of this Indian monsoon. If you understand this point, then it will be very easy for you to understand how the origin of monsoon takes place. Otherwise, it is a bit difficult task. Mind my word, again mind here. See, now we have seen what is the situation now in the northern hemisphere, in the Indian subcontinent. There is an intense low pressure is developed because of the intense heating. An entirely contrast situation has been developed in the southern hemisphere where the intense high pressure is developed because of very minimum temperature as there are winters. Now the scenario is that here is the intense low pressure and here is the intensely high pressure, and you know the principle of the winds. The wind starts blowing from the region of high pressure to low pressure. Again I will explain. See, now understand the correlation in between. You have to understand the correlation in between how the wind system flows, how the wind flows. See, winds. How the wind starts blowing? It starts blowing from the region of high pressure to low pressure. There is a natural tendency of the wind system that the wind starts blowing from the area of high pressure towards the region or area of low pressure. Now as here intensely high pressure is developed in the Indian subcontinent and low pressure is developed here in the Indian northern hemisphere, that means in the Indian subcontinent, the winds will start blowing from this high pressure region to the low pressure region. Are you getting or not? Now see, this is very interesting phenomenon. Now see how the wind start blowing from southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere. That is very interesting part. So see what happens here. Here which sort of winds are here? I will make it right here. Now see, especially here the winds are maritime, tropical air mass. Maritime tropical air mass. So just understand maritime tropical air mass. Why it is maritime? Maritime means which are originated in or in the vicinity of the oceans or the water. That's a maritime. Then tropical means because this is the tropical region. We know that as far as equator is concerned, then in the vicinity of this equator there is a region called as a tropical region. So this is maritime, tropical and air mass. So this maritime tropical air mass means this is mass of the air. It get attracted toward, it get pulled toward by this intense low pressure, and it starts moving toward the low pressure. See, it starts journey towards low pressure. It starts its journey toward low pressure. It starts its journey toward low pressure. यहाँ तक समझ में आया आपको? ये ऐसे सिचुएशन हुआ, प्रेशर कॉन्ट्रास्ट, टेम्परेचर कॉन्ट्रास्ट हुआ, उसके वजह से प्रेशर कॉन्ट्रास्ट हुआ एंड प्रेशर कॉन्ट्रास्ट हुआ, मतलब बिकॉज ऑफ हियर हाई प्रेशर इज हियर, दैट्स व्हाई द विंड इज नाउ पुल्ड अप टुवर्ड द low pressure. See, and which is that wind? We have to talk in a geographical jargon. In geographical jargon, we can call it as a maritime tropical air masses. So this maritime tropical air mass, it get attracted toward this low pressure and it reaches up to the equator. See, it has reached to the equator, and as it reaches toward the equator, its direction get automatically changed. What becomes the direction? Now see direction. See, Means earlier the direction is from southeast. These are the southeast wind. And now the direction has been changed as it crosses the equator. So do you know why it happens? Because we have seen that whenever the wind crosses the equator, the southeasterly wind get translated into the southwestern. It starts flowing in the southwesterly direction. Its direction get changes. Why it happens? Because of a Coriolis force. Why? Because of Coriolis force. Coriolis force. So what is this Coriolis force? It is this force that causes the deflection in the direction of this wind from one part of the equator toward the another part of that equator. Yes, so this Coriolis force, what it happens, what it makes, means we have seen that our earth is rotating. See, our earth is rotating around the sun, it's revolving around its axis, and as it revolves around its axis, the wind's direction also get deflected because of a force, and this force is nothing but a Coriolis force. And because of the influence of this Coriolis force, the wind starts blowing in the eastern direction toward the easterly direction from west to east. So now the winds, as it crosses equator, this maritime tropical air mass will start flowing in the easterly direction. Now this is called as the southwesterly wind. Now see here interesting thing. Again, now we'll explain this phenomenon. There is very interesting feature. This, as far as this equator is concerned, in this region, there is another wind system that I will explain you. Hello. So students, now we have to see how this wind system starts flowing from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere. This is a bit complicated process, but I will explain you in a very simpler manner. Yes, just keep watch upon me. Otherwise, you will miss something important. And this is the crux of this nature in understanding the inter-monsoon system. If you understand this another second aspect of this wind system, then monsoon will be easier for you. Yes, for that I will change this setting. Yes. See, this is your equator. I will take to some higher stage so that you can understand it well. This is your equator, and we have seen that here is the Indian mass, land mass. Right, this is Sri Lanka that we can show. And here is Australia. So now see, understand here. We have seen that here very intensely low, intense high pressure has been developed here. Intense high pressure. This is the area of intense high pressure, and we have just seen that maritime tropical air mass. This maritime tropical air mass, under the influence of this intense low pressure, influence of this low pressure, it started shifting toward the equator and then crossing to the next side, that means in the northern hemisphere. So what happens here? Just understand here, this is very important concept here. So this maritime tropical air mass, it starts flowing toward the equator. Then what happens? Here, which winds are here blowing? Sorry, cold wind must be in green color. So as this is winter here, we have seen this is the winter season. So the winds are also cold, and we have seen, see, I will make you explain here very well. In other words, see, this is your equator, then this is tropical region, and we have seen that the trade wind starts blowing from the subtropical region towards the equator on both the sides of this equator. So Which trade winds are these? These are the southeast trade wind. And which trade winds are here? These are the northeast trade wind. So this is the equator. Just understand this concept first. As far as tropical region is concerned, in tropical region, the trade winds start flowing from the subtropical air mass, subtropical high pressure belt. This is subtropical high pressure belt toward the equatorial low pressure belt. This belt is equatorial low. This here is a low pressure. This is, and as it is situated in the equator, we called it as a equatorial low pressure. And this is a subtropical high pressure. The wind start, we have seen that the wind start blowing from high pressure to low pressure. Is this point clear? Yes. Now the winds are blowing. Those are blowing toward the equator from the subtropical region. Those are the trade winds. In southern hemisphere, we call them as the southeast trade wind, and in the northern hemisphere, we call them as the northeast trade wind. Why we call it the southeast trade wind? Why southeast and northeast? Because see, the direction is more. See, this is the direction. This is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. And this direction is southeast, and this direction is northeast. Now see, the winds are blowing in this direction, that means in the northeast direction, and that's why these are called as a northeast trade wind. And in contrary, in the southern hemisphere, the winds are blowing from southeast direction, that's why these are called as southeast trade wind. Is this point clear to everybody? Yes. Now it will make you easier to understand this. See, this is the maritime trade wind, maritime tropical air masses. These are develop here over the entire sea bodies, water bodies, and obviously the natural tendency of the wind is that here the winds, I will take another color. The winds are blowing from subtropical high pressure belt toward the equatorial low pressure belt from the southern hemisphere. Which winds are these? These are the southeast trade winds, right? So this maritime tropical air mass, it gets mixed up with this southeast trade wind. Just understand it first, just listen to me. This is maritime tropical air mass. ये कहाँ से आ गया मैरीटाइम ट्रॉपिकल एयर मास? बिकॉज ये समुद्र में जैसे कि लैंड पर विंड्स बहते रहते हैं, वैसे भी समुद्र पर विंड्स बहते रहते हैं. इजंट इट और नॉट? जब जो विंड्स होते हैं जो समुद्र के ऊपर बहते हैं, दैट मीन्स दे आर कॉल्ड एज मैरीटाइम. और चूंकि ये ट्रॉपिकल रीजन में होते हैं इसलिए उनको ट्रॉपिकल कहा जाता है. सो मैरीटाइम ट्रॉपिकल एयर मास, दिस इंटायर मास ऑफ एयर है, ये ऐसे ऐसे आगे बढ़ते जाता है टुवर्ड्स द लो प्रेशर. क्यों? क्योंकि इनकी टेंडेंसी है हाई प्रेशर एरिया से लो प्रेशर के एरिया की तरफ बढ़ना. बट हमें पता है कि यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी साउथ ईस्ट ट्रेड विंड भी बह रही है. सो क्या होता है कि दिस मैरीटाइम ट्रॉपिकल एयर मास एंड साउथ ईस्ट ट्रेड विंड ये मिक्सअप हो जाते हैं और ये बहुत दोनों एक साथ इकट्ठे पुल अप किए जाते हैं, सक किए जाते हैं. ये लो प्रेशर देखिए सक कर रहा है इधर, यहाँ से ऐसे विंड्स ऐसे आ रहे हैं. बट वी हैव सीन दैट दिस इज द इक्वेटर. And as far as the equator is concerned, let me explain you the another wind system here. ठीक है, हमने पहले एक विंड सिस्टम देखा यहाँ पे, लो प्रेशर हाई प्रेशर का क्या लॉजिक है वो हमने अंडरस्टैंड किया. उसके बाद मैरीटाइम एयर मास ट्रॉपिकल एयर मास देखा, फिर साउथ ईस्ट ट्रेड विंड देखे हमने. अब हमें देखना है कि ये जो हमारा इक्वेटोरियल बेल्ट है, इन दिस इक्वेटोरियल बेल्ट देयर इज अनदर इंटरेस्टिंग विंड फिनोमेना दैट इज कॉल्ड एज equatorial, I will equatorial westerly. Equatorial westerly. What is this equatorial westerly? आप just understand each and every concept thoroughly. I will explain you each and every concept so that you will never find it jumbling here. So as far as equatorial is concerned, what is this equatorial westerly? Now understand why it is called as equatorial and why it is called as westerly. So as it is blowing around the equator, see, it blows around the equator just within a range of 0 to 5. This equator means it is 0 degree and up to this 5 degree and below 5 degree. In this small belt, this equatorial westerlies approximately are blowing in along the equator, and as they are blowing from east to west, these are blowing in this direction, these are blowing in this direction, these are blowing in this direction. See, this is the direction from east to west, and they are along the equator. That's why they are called as equatorial westerly. Got it clear? So this is equatorial westerly. So in addition to this equatorial westerly, there is another important concept that I will explain you, a state of doldrum. Doldrum. What is doldrum? Doldrum means state of confusion. Why it is called a state of confusion? Because we have seen that along the equator, from the subtropical high pressure belts, the trade winds are blowing, one from the northeast direction and other from the southeast directions. And when these both winds, means northeast trade winds comes blowing from this upper part and the southeast trade winds start blowing from the southern part, then it get confluence at this equator. Getting it? This northeast trade wind and this southeast trade wind, this starts blowing from the subtropical high pressure wind and get confluence, get confused, coils with each other, they get mixed up with each other, and because of the state of doldrum is created. And this also exists in between around tentatively 0.5, 0 to 5 to the north and 0 to 5 degrees south in this region. And this region comprises, that means this particular region from 0 degree, that means equator up to the 5 degree north and 5 degree south, there are two concepts that we have to understand. One is the concept doldrum and second is the equatorial westerlies. So these two phenomena are here, weather phenomena are taking place here. Now understand again the another concept. I will explain you. That is the ITCZ. The concept of ITCZ. Do anybody know what is ITCZ? Have you studied NCERT or not? ITCZ. Understand, this is very important concept, ITCZ. Just understand. See, unless and until you understand what is this low pressure belt, how it is high pressure belt is formed, what is this maritime tropical air mass, what is southeast trade wind, what is northeast trade wind, what is equatorial westerly and what is doldrum, again what is ITCZ, you will not understand, you will never understand the Indian monsoon. But once you master all this concept, then it will be cakewalk for you to understand this monsoon. Now the last important point is ITCZ. So what does it is? ITCZ means intertropical convergence zone. So what is ITCZ? ITCZ is intertropical convergence zone. Intertropical means in between the tropical region. See, this is a tropical region also in the northern hemisphere and this is tropical region in the southern hemisphere. So in between these two, this belt lies and it lies along the equator, and that's why it is called as ITCZ, intertropical convergence zone. So zone means convergence zone. See, intertropical means as it is lies between the tropical region, that means it is, that's why it is called as intertropical, and convergence means because it is confluence with each other, just like doldrum, it also get confluence with each other. See here, this northeast trade wind and southeast trade wind, they get confluence with each other, they get converge with each other along this equator, and that's why a zone is formed, that is called as ITCZ. This is intertropical convergence zone. In the northern hemisphere it is called as northern tropical convergence zone, while in the southern hemisphere it is called as southern intertropical convergence zone. Is this aspect clear to everybody? Yes. Now see, I will explain. So what happens? As we have seen now, this maritime tropical air mass and southeast trade wind, these are moving toward the equator. and as this moves towards the equator, they get their direct. So students, now understand how this wind systems get into function और क्या क्या चेंजेस होते हैं, कैसे कैसे चेंजेस होते हैं. सी अब ये है क्रक्स ऑफ दिस एंटायर मानसून सिस्टम. मीन्स ये जो हमारा मानसून सिस्टम हम देख रहे हैं उसमें ये अब क्या तब्दीलियाँ होती है, इसमें क्या चेंजेस होते हैं, कि किस तरह से विंड स्टार फ्लो करता है, इससे अब आपको एक एंटायर गैमट इसका ध्यान में आ जाएगा. सो नाउ सी, सो हमने देखा था कि साउथ ईस्ट ट्रेड विंड और मैरीटाइम ट्रॉपिकल एयर मासेस ये यहाँ से फ्लोस्ट करना स्टार्ट कर दिया था इन्होंने. तो जैसे ये आ जाते हैं यहाँ पे, दे रीचेस टू द इक्वेटोरियल रीजन, दे गेट, see they are now reaching to this equator, this is the equator. Now as they reaches to the equator and crosses the equator, they changes their direction, means now they are moving from the southeast direction. Now they are moving from, they are flowing from the southeast direction, but as they crosses the equator and comes to the northern hemisphere, they get, means they get deflected in this direction. The direction is deflected, the direction is changed, and they start flowing in this direction, in this direction, in this direction, and this is which direction? Southwest direction. And that's why these are called as southwest trade wind. Means now the southeast trade wind along with the maritime tropical air masses, as they crosses the equator, now changes their direction and they starts flowing in this deflected direction, that means from the southwest. From southeast they become southwest. Yes, why this happened I have just told you, but again I will repeat if anybody has not got it, that idea clear at that time. So this change of direction takes place because of a force, and that force is called as Coriolis force. What is this Coriolis force? Means we have seen our mother earth, this is our earth. When this star is revolving, it direction change. See, as far as northern hemisphere is concerned, it's moving from here. Means during its revolution, the wind starts blowing from west to east direction. And in the southern hemisphere, the wind starts blowing from east to west direction. Means why this is? Because of the Coriolis force. This Coriolis force deflects the direction of the winds. This force that causes the deflection of the wind direction is called as, that force is nothing but it is the Coriolis force. Because of that Coriolis force, the direction of the wind get reversed. Now in the southern hemisphere it was southeast, so now in the northern hemisphere it becomes the southwest direction. And now this southeast trade wind now are considered as a southwest trade wind. Means, in other words, you can say that the southwest trade wind that is responsible for, or that is the plays important role in the Indian monsoon, that is nothing but it is the extension of the southeast wind. The most characterized southwest trade wind that is important concept and important particulate of our this entire monsoon system, which entire monsoon system is energized by this southwest trade wind system. That southwest trade wind is nothing but it is the extension of the southeast trade wind. Is this point clear? Now see, now what happens as the southeast trade wind gets shifted toward the north and get pushed toward the north, and along with that southeast trade wind, this equatorial westerly also gets shifted toward the north. Because of this force of this, they both get shifted, means southeast trade wind is pushing to this equatorial westerly and they are in association with each other, they are moving toward the north. And as they get shifted toward the north, this ITCZ becomes activate. Getting my point? As this southeast trade wind, which become the southwest trade wind, and equatorial westerly, they shift toward the north. They are shifting toward the north. See, they are shifting toward the north. They are shifting toward the north. They are shifting toward the north. The space that is remain, the space, this trade ITCZ get a space, and it also gets shifted toward the north. Yes, as because of this advancement of the southwest trade wind or this equatorial westerly toward the northward, this ITCZ also starts moving northward. Another important thing, You got this point up to this, means you understood ITCZ, equatorial westerlies, southwesterly trade winds. Now you got it. Now I will add another wind system, that is most important aspect, another of this. I will write it as upper air westerly I will click upper air westerly jet stream, very important. Upper air westerly jet stream, see, it has very important role to play in Indian monsoon. Just get into idea, the entire each and every important constituent of this monsoon system, and this upper air westerly jet stream is one of that most important constituents. What the role does it play? What's its role? So as far as this upper air westerly jet stream is concerned, during the winter period, means since the onset of winter period, this upper air westerly jet stream, it is lying somewhere here in the Gangetic region. Ganga plains. You know, the entire Gangetic plains are here in the northern India, comprising your Bihar, UP, and all these parts of Haryana and all this. It is called as a Gangetic system, a part of Gangetic system, because Jamuna is also the tributary of Ganga, means Haryana also, and all these nearby states and areas and all this also comes under this Gangetic plain region. So as far as this Gangetic plain region is concerned, it is this place where prior the onset of the monsoon, mind my words, before the onset of monsoon, prior the onset of this monsoon, these upper air westerly jet streams, these are located here at this Gangetic plain. But now as this southeast trade wind get converted into the southwest trade wind and easterly, equatorial westerly, as this wind masses starts moving toward the north, means at the same time this upper air westerly jet stream, it also gets shifted from this place and runs northward. It moves further northward and it comes here. Where? See, if this is a Tibetan plateau. Yes, getting it? So this upper air westerly jet stream, which was lying here over the Gangetic plain prior to the onset of monsoon, but after the onset of monsoon, it gets shifted toward the further northern and it get set up along this Tibetan plateau, along the northern flanks of this Tibetan plateau, it gets settled. And as this upper air westerly jet stream shifts toward the northward, then easterly jet stream, very interesting, easterly jet stream. Yes, I will click black. No, I will. See this easterly jet stream. Now it comes into the picture. Which wind is this? This wind system is easterly jet stream. Means see, as this upper air western jet stream gets shifted toward the north and gets settled over the northern flanks of this Tibetan plateau, this easterly jet stream comes into the picture and it starts moving toward the east and runs over this Indian landmass. And this phenomenon, this development of the arrival of this easterly jet stream toward India, it is described as, it's correlated to what is called as the onset of monsoon. Onset of monsoon means the onset of monsoon immediately begins as this easterly jet streams comes toward the Indian subcontinent, comes over the India. It comes and lies over this India. Indian subcontinent. Then this it is called as the onset of monsoon. Means these two, onset of monsoon and arrival of this easterly jet stream into the Indian land masses. These phenomena are correlated to each other. Means see, this southeast trade wind, maritime tropical air mass, this all along with ITCZ and equidistant, they all should get shifted toward the northward. Simultaneously, upper air westerly jet stream also, it gets shifted toward the north, toward the Tibetan highland, and this easterly jet stream, it comes into the picture, it enters into the Indian landmass. This all development takes simultaneously, and this leads to the onset of the Indian monsoon. Getting it my point? So this is in crux, in brief, if we want to understand the monsoon, how the monsoon is get originated, it is this story, this entire sequence of these events, it lead to the origin of monsoon in India. Got it? Yes. Now we will see the rainfall pattern in India, how the rainfall takes place, occurs because of this Indian monsoon. Yes. See. Now another map will be here. Shall I take? Yes, I will take broader India map. We can draw half map also, but I just wanted to give you the glimpse of it, that's why I am making it complete. Otherwise, there is no necessity as such going for this entire map. Just a minute. See, take a brief idea. So, as far as this India is concerned, now see, we have to see the rainfall pattern in India, how the rain occurs. So, as far as Indian monsoon rain is concerned, that there are two important branches. One is Bay of Bengal branch, and second is Arabian Sea branch. Means India receives rainfall with the help of these two branches. One is the Bay of Bengal branch and another is the Arabian Sea branch. So as far as Bay of Bengal branch is concerned, we will deal it with first. So what happens? See, now we have seen that means this is the equator here below and the winds are crossing and it is coming, the southeast trade wind get converted into the which one? Southwest trade wind. So because the direction is southwestward, getting out of that. See, I will make it clear again. You must get every basic concept clear, then only you can understand. This is north, this is south, this is southwest, this is southeast. Getting or not? So see, the winds are blowing in this direction, that means these are blowing in the southwest direction. This is southwest direction. That's why we are calling it as a southwest trade wind. So this southwest trade wind, this starts moving like this. See, they are start running like this, and they enters into the branches enters into after crossing this Bay of Bengal. They enters into the Bengal. Then again they enters into this Bangladesh. And this is Myanmar, this is India, this is Bay of Bengal, here is a Bangladesh, here is a Myanmar, and once it reaches toward the Myanmar, here is Arakan Yoma, this is Arakan, Do you know Arakan Yuma? What is Arakan Yuma? It is a mountain range. Where it is situated? This mountain range is in the country called Myanmar. Now recently it is in news. You must have know the reason, I will not tell you. Yes. So as the southwest trade wind means the Bay of Bengal branch, it enters into the parts, it enter into the Bay of Bengal, then again to the West Bengal, then Bangladesh, and then Myanmar. And as it reaches to the Myanmar, it is obstructed by this Arakan Yuma. See, these winds are obstructed by the Arakan Yuma. And as it get obstructed by this Arakan Yuma, it gets shifted toward the northward. Because of this obstruction, it gets shifted toward the northward. And again, you know what is here? Here's the Himalaya or Great Himalaya. You know, this is Great Himalaya. Isn't it or not? Sorry. From here. See, this is Great Himalaya. So now we are seeing that this Bay of Bengal, as it advances, as it moves forward, as it advances toward the Myanmar, it gets obstructed by this Arakan Yuma, that is the mountain in Myanmar, and because of its obstruction, it runs then northward. And again it gets deflected because of this Great Himalaya. Because of this Himalaya, again it gets deflected, obstructed, and after obstruction, it starts flowing in the westward direction. See how the Bay of Bengal branch is shifting its direction, shifting its course. We have seen that the Bay of Bengal branch, it enters into the Bay of Bengal and it picks up the moisture from there, and then it enters into the Bengal, it enters into the your Bangladesh, it enters into the Myanmar, and as it enters into the Myanmar, it gets deflected, get first obstructed due to this Arakan Yuma, and then get deflected toward the north, and as it reaches up to the Himalayas, it again get obstructed because of Himalaya, and it starts again to get deflected and start running along the western direction, along the southern flank of Himalaya. From the southern side of Himalaya, that means the southern flanks of Himalaya, again it starts running westward, and running westward means it's entering into the northern Indian plain. Means here it will give the rainfall where in the northeast states, then again to the Bay of Bengal, then again to the Bihar, then again to the UP and all this, it will reach up to the Haryana and Haryana and Delhi etc. And it will give rainfall here. So this is the Bay of Bengal branch. And second branch is the Arabian Sea branch. As far as this Arabian Sea branch is concerned, see, now this is also very interesting. Just a minute, wait for a minute. So as far as western part of our India is concerned, what is the conspicuous feature of western part? Yes, what is the conspicuous feature? The most conspicuous feature is the Western Ghats, isn't it? Yes, see the Western Ghats, These are the Western Ghats, very conspicuous feature, very rich in the biodiversity. Yes, and this part is called as Konkan parts. So now this South Asian Arabian branch, it starts running in this direction, southwest monsoon, and it gets obstructed by this Western Ghat, and some winds start running northward. Some gives rains in the Konkan region and all these coastal regions. Some may be successful to cross, if possible, then they get cross, but very few chances are there. And in this region, you can see that in the Western Himalaya, as far as this Arabian Sea branch is concerned, it gives rainfall in this your entire western part of the India. Yes, including Gujarat, part of Maharashtra, Goa, then Karnataka, then Kerala, parts of also Kerala also, and Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. So in this western part of the India, the rainfall is mainly due to the Arabian Sea branch, and if it could reach up to the Rajasthan, then also into the Rajasthan, but the chances are very low because it have to traverse the maximum distance, a lot of distance toward this Rajasthan, and as far as Rajasthan is concerned, there is very high temperature, and because of that, by the time they reach up to the Rajasthan, the moisture in that wind, it get vanished, it get lost, and as a result, there is minimum rainfall, scanty rainfall because of this southern Arabian Sea branch. Yes, so this is the rainfall due to Arabian Sea, and this is due to the Bay of Bengal branch. Now, another important aspect I would like to tell you that it is about ITCZ and the spells and droughts. See, my dear friends, you must have been seen that the Indian monsoon, it comes into the spells. You must have heard this phrase, you must have also heard this drought. So, why? What is the relation between why these spells occur and why the different spells of monsoonal rain occur? Why the Indian monsoon does not pour the rain in a continuous stretch from first day to last day? No. Why there are such spells? Means one spell after second spell after third spell. Why it gives rainfall in the such spell form, and why the droughts occur? So the reason behind is that, now see, I have already told you that the ITCZ, this intertropical convergence shows it gets shifted toward the north, and we have seen that ITCZ, it is coming from the sea, from the Indian Ocean, and as a result of this, as it is coming from the ocean, as it is coming from these water bodies, it is heavily laden with the water droplets. It's heavily laden, and as it is heavily laden, it comprises the moisture, it runs wherever it goes, wherever it reaches, ITCZ, wherever it reaches up to in India, in that areas it gives rainfall. And up to what extent? Until the moisture that it has carried with it while coming from the ocean, till that extent, until that moisture is present there in that ITCZ. And once this moisture has been lost, then ITCZ get died. Death of ITCZ. Getting this point? Means as this ITCZ advances from the equatorial region, that means over the oceanic body, it comprises the moisture and it is moisture laden, and as a result, whenever it reaches to the Indian masses, it gives rainfall. And up to what extent? Until the moisture is laden with it. Means, see, moisture is laden with it. The water droplets are laden with it. Unless and until it is reached up to this water droplets, it yields the rainfall. And as these water droplets vanishes or is lost, this ITCZ dies. And once this one ITCZ is lost, then again another ITCZ is generated, and it is then again makes its forward journey. It advances toward this low pressure area that has been created here. Getting it? Are you understanding this point? Just be cautious. I am repeating it. Your first batch of ITCZ, your first bunch of this ITCZ water laden bodies, it traversed toward the north, it advanced toward the north, yield rainfall, and then lost water droplet loss. That means ITCZ dead. And once this one ITCZ is dead, then another ITCZ will form. Another ITCZ comes that laden with the rich moisture, and then again it advances toward the north, and it yields heavy rainfall over the Indian land masses. And once again, as its moisture is lost, then again it becomes ineffective and it gets died. Then again another third ITCZ is generated and it advances. Now see, what is the concept of the spell? The time duration. The time duration that is in between the first ITCZ and the second The time duration in between the formation of this second ITCZ after the death of first ITCZ, it determines your spell. Means if this ITCZ, second ITCZ or the consecutive, subsequent consecutive ITCZ is formed in immediate succession, then there will be the situation of heavy rainfall. Are you getting it? What I do say? I said it that if the one ITCZ after the death of first ITCZ, if second ITCZ is formed in a continuous conspicuation in the continuous sequence immediately after the formation date of the first ITCZ, if second ITCZ is immediately formed and immediate advance toward the north, and if it is happening in the continuous sequence, then there will be the spell of heavy rainfall. But this is not as such continuous process, means not continuously one after the other, there is some gap, and it takes because some time it is required for formation of the another consecutive ITCZ, and whatever the time is required, that time is nothing but it is the spell of monsoon. Means whatever time is required for the formation of the further subsequent ITCZ, that much time lag is nothing but it is the spells, and that's why it is said that the Indian monsoon takes place in the spells. Are you getting it? I am clear, students? Yes. This is the spells. Now come to the drought. When the drought occurs, again go to the ITCZ. If this duration of the formation of the second consequent ITCZ, further subsequent consequent ITCZ, and its further advancement toward the north, towards the India, if it is taking considerably long time, if this process is happening in continuously longer time, then there will be no rainfall in the Indian subcontinent for that particular time, and if this duration is more, then it will lead to the situation of drought also. Means it is a part of concept like that. So now you understood the concept ITCZ. Then how the rainfall is received by westerly Bay of Bengal branch and Arabian Sea branch. So I think we will stop here today. This is the, in brief, I wanted to give you the idea about this Indian monsoon, because as far as I could come to know that majority of the students were in dilemma that they don't have a conceptual clarity regarding how that Indian origin of the Indian monsoon takes place, and how what are the wind systems and what is the interplay of all these winds and all this. It was not clear, so I wanted to make such a brief synopsis of this Indian monsoon system and make you explain. I think I have done it well. If anybody has any queries, then you can ask me, put me questions. And I have told you, this is Dr. Prashant. I am faculty for geography since last 10 years, and my Mobishala code is Dhruva 5112. If you want to get any more such videos or any such study materials including this, then you can go for this Mobishala website and you can make a claim there. Dhruva 5112. Thank you, students. We will meet very soon, and we will come with another such topic that will, and we will clear the ideas further better. Okay, see you. All the best.